All right, let's talk about something really important for anyone using PC Guard, redistributable modules. Getting this part right is absolutely key to making sure your protected application works flawlessly for your users, and not just on your own machine.
So here's what we're going to cover. First, what are these redistributables anyway? Then we'll dig into the Interface DLL, the ACEN licensing modules, and, this is the important part, how to automate it all with best practices. And of course, we'll wrap up with a quick summary. Let's get started.
Okay, first up, what are redistributables? PC Guard does an amazing job of embedding most of the protection code right into your app. But for some specific features, it needs a little help from some extra files. Those are the redistributables.
And this right here is probably the most frustrating sentence a developer can hear. It works on my machine, right? You've done everything, you've protected your app, tested it, it's perfect. Then you send it out, and suddenly your users are getting errors. 9 times out of 10, the reason is a missing or just plain wrong redistributable file.
So to be super clear, these are separate files. They don't get baked into your main application exe. Think of them as necessary side picks that you absolutely have to package and ship right alongside your software for certain protection features to work.
All right, let's dive into the most common one you're going to run into, the Interface DLL. Basically, this little file holds all the default UI stuff. The dialog boxes and prompts that PC Guard might need to show your users.
But here's the thing, you don't always need it. So when is it required? Well, if you've turned on remote protection, password protection, demo mode, or if you've enabled the alternate protection interface, then yep, you've got to ship this DLL. And hey, good news, PC Guard is pretty good about telling you this in the protection report, so keep an eye out for that.
Now this is super important. You have to match the architecture. There are 2 flavors of this thing. If you're protecting a 32-bit app, whether it's with PC Guard for Win32 or .NET, you need iDLL. If you're working with a 64-bit app using the Win64 or .NET 64 versions, you'll need iDLL64. And trust me on this, you cannot mix these up. It just won't work.
So what happens if you forget it? Your users will get this lovely message. Interface DLL is missing. Thankfully, the fix is easy. It just means the DLL isn't where the app expects it to be. The golden rule is, the Interface DLL must be in the exact same folder as your application's exe. Okay, now this error, this one is a real problem. Wrong version of Interface DLL. If you see this, it means you've made a critical mistake. You've shipped a DLL from, say, an older or newer version of PC Guard than the one you actually use to protect the app. You have to, always, distribute the exact DLL that came with the version of PC Guard you're using. No exceptions. So let's just run through the key facts for the Interface DLL one more time. 1, it has to be in the same directory as your app. 2, you can actually rename it if you want, that's in the customization settings. 3, it's just a file, it does not need to be registered or anything complicated like that. And 4, a little pro tip, you can get rid of the need for it completely if you build your own custom dialogs or use the advanced protection interface. Pretty cool, huh?
Okay, moving on. Let's talk about the ACEN licensing modules. These are special files you'll need if you're tapping into the Activation Center for online licensing.
So what you need here really depends on which ACEN web interface you pick. If you're going with the modern web API, you'll use a special DLL, iDLL32wa for 32-bit or iDLL64wa for 64-bit. And the key thing to know is that these modules replace the standard iDLL, you don't use both. Now, if you're still on the older SOAP interface, well, that comes with its own set of modules and other files you've got to distribute.
And hey, sound familiar? Just like with the standard DLL, versioning is everything if you're using SOAP. If a user reports an Oz wrong version error, that's your sign. It means the web service files you shipped are out of sync with the protection code in your app.
Okay, so we've seen all the different files, all the ways things can go wrong. It sounds like a lot to keep track of, right? So how do you manage all this without pulling your hair out? Well, the good news is there is a much, much easier way.
And here it is. This is the pro tip, the one thing you should remember if you forget everything else. In your system settings, just go find and check the box for Auto Copy Required Modules. Seriously, enabling this one little feature will save you so much trouble. It basically fixes all the problems we've just talked about.
And this gives you a completely foolproof workflow. It's so simple. Step 1, you just turn on that auto copy option. Step 2, when you protect your app, PCGuard does all the heavy lifting. It looks at your settings, figures out exactly which files you need, the right architecture, the right version, ACN modules, whatever, and it copies them to your output folder. So step 3, you just grab everything from that output directory, bundle it up, and ship it. That's it. It really is that simple.
All right, let's wrap this up with a quick summary. You can think of this as your final checklist to make sure every distribution is error-free.
So here are the big things to remember. Number 1, versioning is everything. Always ship the DLL that came with the version of PCGuard you're using. Number 2, the standard iDLL or iDLL64 isn't always needed, only for certain features. Number 3, remember that the ACN Web API modules, the WA ones, replace the standard DLL. 4, and this is the big one, just use the autocopy required modules option and let PCGuard do the work for you. And finally, make sure all these files end up in the same folder as your app. Stick to that and you'll be golden.
Look, by getting a handle on redistributables, you're knocking out one of the biggest sources of support headaches. It just makes for a way smoother experience for your users, and that frees you up to really dive into all the other cool security features PCGuard has to offer. Thanks for joining me.